Welcome back to Anime Casuals. I'm Lucky.
Here I go! This hand of mine is burning red!
And I'm Michael. Realize the only ones who should kill are those who are prepared to be killed.
Johnny.
Your darkness swallowed up my son? Who decided that?
Erupting! Burning!
Now all of you.
Die.
Hello, everybody. I'm Michael,
I am a Johnny.
and this is Anime Casuals. Hello, everybody. You will notice we were missing a voice because we have an absent Lucky. Lucky's not here. He flew off into 2024, so we'll see him next year. So today we are going over anime from 2022, kind of going over what our favorites of each season was, going play by play, kind of reminding of the sheer amount of anime that we were watching last year. And then we're going to pick some highlights, some of our favorites, and then at the end we're going to tell you what our possibly top pick or top couple of picks are.
Gonna try.
Yeah. So the first season is winter 2022. So I'm gonna stop saying the year. Winter. And I would say probably what dominated. We'll just throw the obvious ones out. Kimetsu Yaiba, which is Demon Slayer, the Entertainment District arc, Attack on Titan, the final part 2, and part 3 is coming up this year, and then probably My Dress Up Darling. We're probably like the top 3 hits of that season. Anything you would like to add to that, Johnny?
Man, looking at it, it seems like it was definitely the kind of season of some just weird titles. Unfortunately, it's funny, I know them in English titles, but not Japanese, so I'm struggling, but there was one, it's like How I Rebuilt the Kingdom as a Realist Hero.
Oh, Realist Hero, Rebuild the Kingdom.
That was one of the ones that came out then, and that was a blast to watch. And then there was How I Got Reincarnated with like the weakest crest. I don't know. There were a lot of weird titles out there. I got reincarnated as an old man into a little girl.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was another one too.
Mhm.
It was fun, but it was like, what are all these titles?
I
They're so
watched
strange.
3 episodes of that one. Yeah. Johnny, you watched this one. It's Kuroitsu from the Monster Development Department.
Yeah, that was one I didn't know I couldn't remember what the show was called, but
Yeah.
there were a couple Power Rangers shows this year that were pretty good, and that was one of them. And that was all about from the evil side perspective, when they got to build their monsters and send them out against the hero.
Yeah.
So it was a fun ride.
Yeah. I would say by far my favorite from the season was My Dress Up Darling, which is a whole show about cosplaying, basically with the talent and then the seamstress combined together to make a really strong duo. It was a little romantic. It was kind of heavy into the cosplay. There was a lot of fun moments about it. I just generally enjoyed it. And then Demon Slayer and Attack on Titan were really good, but I won't go into them because they're like classically good. I think a sleeper hit was this anime that came out called World's End Harem. No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna mention that was the one fan service of the season. It was okay, and honestly, the story still is kind of intriguing, and I hope it keeps going. But there wasn't a whole lot to it. I mean, it's more just very it's just got me at the edge of my seat. That's all it was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was fun though. It was fun for a bit. Fan service, right on.
Mm-hmm. In that same vein, the Genius Prince's Guide to Raising a Nation Out of Debt was also very interesting. It was, I think that was the one where the prince was like, "Oh, we're in so much debt, I gotta sell my country," and then every time he accidentally stumbled into a new way that his country would be even more popular, stronger.
Yeah, I remember.
So yeah, there was so many like little sleeper hits in the winter season that made us go, "Yeah, we're gonna do really good this season or this year."
I think I agree with something you had said earlier. I think Dress Up Darling might have been the big hit of the season. But that being said, it's also trying to compete with Attack on Titan and Demon Slayer. Between the two, I think Demon Slayer was probably the bigger more exciting one for me.
Mhm.
Even though Attack on Titan was crazy, it's just kind of hard to get past the whole like, what are we at? Like part 2, part 1, and then that's got a
Yeah.
part 2, part 3, part 4. And it's
Mhm.
just I don't know. I wish it had normal titles. I'd be fine with it.
Final
But-
part, part 1. Final part, part 2. Final part, part 3. Final part, final part.
Or just season 4, 5, whatever it was.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
okay.
Yes.
But yeah. I think for me, Demon Slayer and all its beautiful artwork was what really got me last year.
And that whole arc was very emotional. Leaving off of the movie, which was pretty hard hitting, to this whole arc where we get to meet a new Hashira and like his wives and everything that's going on. That I felt was really really fun.
Worst anime of the season, or of the that season was Tokyo 24.
Oh, was that the one that we tried to watch?
Yeah, and it was very hard to watch. It was a struggle.
It's so hard to watch. And that's the thing is like Worlds and Harem had a better storyline than Tokyo 24. And I was like, come on guys. If a harem anime is doing better than you guys, which is all about banging. That's all that show was about, was banging forcefully or not forcefully.
For the good of humanity though.
Yes. And one guy was like,
Mostly.
no, I don't believe in that. And they were like, well, you're silly.
I only bang for one humanity.
And we can make as many babies as we want, just with her, only with her. And that sort of brings us out of the winter season straight into spring, which I always, we're going through it right now, but I'm always baffled when I'm like, all right, January and February are still technically part of winter. Wild things I don't really connect. I'm just gonna put it out there in spring. Spy Family, Spy Family. Spy Family. Spy Family is great anime. And I think it competes with a couple other like heavy hitters. Like there's a more sleeper hit, Your Boy Kong Ming, which I think is actually a pretty fun anime. I don't think it's like, I wouldn't be like, oh, it's the best thing I've ever seen. But it's definitely a fun anime and an interesting concept.
I ended up watching that when the English came out, so that was kind of fun. I don't remember if I finished it though. I think I have like one more episode left, but it was fun. It was an interesting thing. It was a lot easier watch than I expected.
Yeah.
Like you really don't need to worry about it too much. It's not very involved.
Yeah. Unlike, Kaguya Love is War, which theoretically the final season, but now we know it's not the final season, came out, which kind of tie off a lot of their little romantic loose ends that are in it and some major arcs that are happening. Now, the thing with Kaguya, like the reason why I was like, I thought it was really fun. They were trying a lot of new things that season. Like there was like standalone episodes. There was like building up like musicality. They were trying to play with their openers, and their openers were kind of changing throughout the season. It was actually really fun. I just wish that maybe that had been there the whole time, right? Or no, their enders were changing. Their opener was the same. So it was a fun show. But I think there's other things on this list during spring that stuck out more.
Yeah. Looking at it now, there are a couple. Yeah, go ahead.
Mine is Komi season 2. I think Komi Can't Communicate is a very heartwarming series, and I think this second season kind of made me cry at times. So I think it's stupendous. It's gosh darn fantastic. Yeah. Anything sticking out for you, Johnny? I have one that's silly, but
I'm going over. I'm just trying to make sure. There was a lot in the summer, wasn't there?
yeah.
I have a couple more pictures that I took, so I'm like, oh man, there's a lot more I have to look over. But a big one that really stood out for me, because I was watching it as it came out. It was let's see, it's another one. It's
Skeleton Knight?
no, it's like Love After World Domination. And it was the other Power Ranger one that came out, and it was pretty great. Basically, the main good guy, the head Power Ranger, and the head bad lady, they end up getting together, and they're like, hey.
Yeah.
You're really great. I'm really great. Let's be together. And they have to hide their whole relationship from the rest of the Power Rangers. It's awesome. So that one was really fun, and I don't know if it got enough recognition because it should have got a lot more. But there were a lot of cool anime this season. A couple that were just kind of retellings of different stories, I feel like, but they were still pretty good. One that I liked, there was a rise of like dating sim anime this season. So one that came out was again, I can't tell you the title, but it was pretty good just because the main character, he has played this dating sim so many times. When he gets sucked into it, he's like, okay, I know what I need to do for everything, and I'm going to live the best life I can here. And he doesn't care about anybody else or what they think. So like, it's not until, I don't know, like more of a bigger part in the game where he doesn't have a choice. He steps in and is like, fine, I will break this game and I will just win. So he starts doing it and it's great. He ends up being the main character of the game. And so it was really fun. Again, I hope it gets a season 2 because I don't think it got one so far.
There was one, you and Lucky actually introduced me to the Executioner and Her Way of Life.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like an isekai where, and actually, our isekai that's coming out now in 2023 is kind of doing the same thing where it's like, hey, it's isekai, but we don't really care. Like, we'll just move on past it. It's basically an executioner who hunts down people who've been isekai'd in this world because they're theoretically dangerous because their powers are really, really strong. And it's so brutal because like a guy in the first episode, he gets isekai'd in and they're like, oh, well, your power kind of sucks. He's like, I guess my power sucks. And then he like meets this girl and this girl's like, oh, well, yeah, you look like you're being hunted. Like, let me save you. And she's like, what's your power? He's like, oh, I think it's a null. I think that's what it was. And she's like, oh, well, that doesn't. He's like, yeah, I don't think it really does much. Like, I don't know. Like, they weren't excited at the isekai, welcome party. And then he like tries to do his ability and it just like sucks out like something and like completely eliminates it from existence. He's like, oh, it's actually really strong. And that's when like a knife comes into his stomach, a sword like goes through him, and he's like, "What's going on?" And you see the girl that he's with like just goes, "I'm sorry, you're too dangerous to live." And she like proceeds to, like stab him 5 more times or something, and his power just goes off, and the entire like roof of this church they're staying in like vanishes. And it's really cool, and I like this flip idea of, hey, instead of the isekai hero coming to save the day, it's like, no, all of them suck and they gotta die.
Yeah, that was definitely the thing about watching that first episode. It totally, when I saw him get his like cool power, I was like, oh great, another broken isekai. No, she just kills him. We're done. No broken isekai.
Yeah,
you can't have that in the world. It's too many. So that was definitely a good one. That was on High Dive, so that's why I didn't get to think about it on Crunchyroll. That's weird. My anime list isn't showing me that. No, I don't know why that is. Man, there were also a couple flops as I'm going through here, if I can see them. I felt like, oh God, why am I forgetting every name? Shield Hero.
Yeah,
I feel like that season kind of was a bit of a lull. I mean, there were some cool moments in there, but man, it wasn't super. It wasn't super good. It wasn't super lit.
No, it like started off strong for like an episode or two, and then it was like it was toileting.
Yeah. And then Devil's a Part-Timer as well was another one that was just kind of like not great.
Oh, that was that season. Interesting.
Yeah.
I think one more I wanted to throw out. I haven't watched Bookworm in a while, so I will skip that. Was Birdie Wing, Golf Girl story. It's all about golf, and I'm gonna put it to you this way. If you like golf, even 1%, or like playing it, I think you'll enjoy watching the anime about golf because it's super ridiculous and dramatic. Otherwise, you can skip it. That's fine. You don't need to watch Birdie Wing, but I will continue to watch it because I think it's a very fun, silly anime. Any other call-outs from spring?
Man, I'm really realizing how many more I just saw that were on High Dive. There actually were a lot that were pretty good. I ended up seeing what's the vampire one? Something at Night. We Own the Night. That's not it. I wish I'm looking at a picture so I can't even. It was pretty good. It was an awesome one. It was about the vampire who runs into a kid who basically loves being out at night and
it's Call of the Night, and that's actually in summer. So hey, nice transition. We're now in summer.
I waited for that one though. I watched it in winter because of English, but yeah. So that's why that one was pretty awesome.
It was also cute because like the way she interacts with that guy is very funny. Or the guy like I think in the second or third episode would be like, I actually have self-worth. And so if you want to drink my blood, then we can start this relationship stronger. And she's like, what? But you have the best blood.
Another one I would mention is My Uncle Came from Another World.
Yeah.
Whatever it was on Netflix.
Uncle from Another World.
Awesome.
Yeah, East Sky Uncle.
Yeah.
Mm.
There's a couple other I could mention, but those were probably a couple that were pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna leave this to later, but Made in Abyss came out in summer. The Golden City of the Scorching Sun.
You know what? If you want to watch Made in Abyss, there's another one you can watch then afterward, which is all about this kid who gets isekai'd and starts a pharmacy, and he helps people. So if you want to get all that horrible Made in Abyss stuff out of your brain for a bit, and you just want to watch, wow, he's just helping people. He's solving all these terrible diseases. This is great. And it's great. So watch that one.
Parallel World Pharmacy, yeah.
Broken Isekai.
We'll just pitch it out to Johnny because I haven't watched it, but is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon?
That one was gnarly. That was
Okay.
another one I waited for English, but man, that was a crazy season.
Mhm.
And now I guess part 2 of that is coming out now. So
Yep.
I would definitely watch that.
Yeah, I think it's not a sleeper hit, but just something to watch if you're like looking for something. Engage Kiss was okay. It was like a decent anime. I don't think it was a flop. Definitely not a flop. Where like there's like a monster hunter and the monster, and basically they have a contract between the two of them that if they have a nice sloppy kiss, the monster hunter will get powered up. No, she'll get powered up and be able to like destroy a bunch of stuff.
You know what? That was actually the other theme that kind of came up. There were a couple anime that were like that. Like, oh, I'm super powerful. I'm not. Let's make out so we can exchange power. Because there was another one.
Vermilion Gold.
Yeah, Vermilion Gold. That was a fun one. That was really fun. Man. Rent a Girlfriend. That's all I'll say about that. That's a great one.
Stepmom's Daughter is my ex.
You know, one fan service I'm going to really criticize is Slave Harem. In another word, in a labyrinth, in another world, or something.
Harem in the Labyrinth of
Yeah,
Another World. Yeah,
That one was.
you could say it was a flop.
It wasn't. See, the fan service is great, but there's really not much else to that
Yeah.
anime. And I thought there was going to be something. Here's the thing: they talk about like multiple slaves they showed out in the opener, and they never do. It's only the one.
Yeah.
She's great. She's beautiful, but man, that's crazy. It's ridiculous.
Mhm. If you want some
There's some-
things to investigate, Yurei Deco was actually kind of interesting. It was like the internet one where everybody like lives in this AR verse. I didn't keep watching past like the second or third episode, but it was interesting. Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer really flopped for me. Like it was a hard flop because it was like, hey, backstory, lore. Okay, where's the actual story? It's like, oh, well, we already explained it to you. Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. And I ended up sticking with it for a while, and they don't really explain stuff until like the last couple episodes, and even then,
hmm
it's just very scattered and kind of nonsense.
Yeah. There's
Hammer's
also
just a metaphor, I guess.
it's just like the giant hammer is just meant for, but only certain people can see it.
Yeah.
Which would be weird. Like you're just sitting on a planet and then it gets hit by a hammer. You don't know what got hit.
It's all a game.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
I'm sure we could talk about Classroom Elite 2 and Licorice Recoil if we watched them.
I did. Classroom Elite was pretty good.
Oh, so you watched
Again,
them
that's
both.
another
Okay.
one I just waited. I didn't watch it in
Yeah.
the season.
Yeah. But Overlord season 4 was actually really, really fun. I think it was up there. I think I remember us. If you want to go back to our weekend talks, actually during that time, we actually got to talk about Overlord and Made in Abyss at the same time. So it was a really strong season to talk about. To be fair, I don't remember what else we watched, but I do remember those two. Oh, and we were trying to watch One Piece. So that was really fun. I think summer was a pretty good season overall.
Yeah, it had a lot of good stuff to watch.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I think it was dwarfed. I think all of 2022 was dwarfed by. Did we also mention it? We forgot to mention Sabui Bisco
Oh yeah, and
in the winter season.
anime.
Yeah. Sabui Bisco is actually pretty good, and I would recommend you watch Sabui Bisco.
Soggy Biscuit.
Soggy Biscuit, because it's a really unique world, and I think it started off the year correctly. starting off the year of 2022 with Sabui Bisco was incredibly fun because I had no problems watching it, and it goes from 0 to 100 very quickly. And I think that brings us into our final season,
Yeah, fall.
which was fire. Like 100%, my hands are gone. Fire.
Stuff.
We had Bleach. We had Mob, Chainsaw Man. The second thing is Spy Family, Golden Kamui, Blue Lock, My Hero. There was so much stuff in this season, and that's just like the things that everybody would know if you look into it. But yeah, I mean, also Bochi the Rock, but I didn't watch that. But a lot of people have said it's really good.
That's
Like,
what I'm gonna check out. Apparently, it's amazing.
mhm.
But
Like it's like a couple of the other like really big music anime out there, and the manga is actually really popular for Bochi the Rock. So yeah, I don't know what you want to start first with, Johnny. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know.
I mean, you mentioned that first page, everything, all the good stuff, Chainsaw, Bleach, My Hero, which is still going, if not finishing up soon. But otherwise,
I'm gonna start from the bottom.
I'm just
throw
starting
some
to
out.
watch. I got reincarnated as a sword because the English is coming out.
Mhm.
Interesting premise, but I don't know. It's not totally grabbing me so far yet. Uzaki-chan wants to hang out. That's one I was waiting for, so that's been a really good one. And
Yeah.
there's been some pretty good plot ground as far as that one. One that I got strangely into, and I don't know if Lucky would like it, but it's definitely a romance anime. It's Not Quite Married, or Not Quite a Couple, but Not Quite Married, or something like
Oh,
that.
okay.
And so that's been a fun one, rooting for the main guy, because everybody loves him apparently. Man, this Beast Tamer anime that came out was amazing.
Yeah,
And
it was.
I wish more D&D things were like that.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome, and just watching it was just great. It was a fun way to consider the Beast Tamer.
Okay, I'm gonna compare it to Goblin Slayer real quick. You know how Goblin Slayer was like, hey, let's take a stereotype of D&D or fantasy worlds, and we'll change it. So it's like, hey, goblins are usually like really easy things to fight. They can overwhelm you, but like almost like a level 2 could take care of most of them. A quick like burning hands, they all die. But this one was taking the fact of going, hey, beast masters or beast companions usually aren't like super good. It's like, yeah, but what if they could control a bunch of animals at the same time and also have self-esteem issues, saying that they're not very good or they're average?
Yes.
Let's put those two together and make Beast Tamer. Weirdly in the same vein as Beast Tamer, I've somehow gotten stronger when I improved my farming skill. It was okay. It was okay type of thing. It quickly gets away from the farming thing, and I was hoping it wouldn't. Like, basically all he does is farm all the time, and then eventually he crests over like the maximum threshold you can use as farming, and it's like, would you like to dump this into something else? And it was like, yeah. It was like, okay, boost your stats. And it was like, weird.
Just a standard dump into whatever.
Yeah. As well as we watched a little bit of Love Flops. Some person got visually humped by a dog, so that was a little wild. You talked about Beast Tamer already. I'm just going up this list.
Welcome to Demon School. Rumakun came back.
Mm-hmm.
That's been a fun season. Another one in the dating sim category was I am going to conquer the main villain, and that one's been a pretty good one. She turns from like main nobody likes her lady to I'm going to make the main bad guy love me, and that works out pretty well for her. Witcher Mercury was one that I wanted to watch, but I didn't get to, so I'm probably going to watch that this year.
Just wait for the English to come out.
Yeah, if it does. Golden Kamui, we got to get back to that at some point.
Yeah.
That was a great one.
The Eminence and Shadow was a roller coaster thing. It kind of reminded me of Tokyo 24, where I was like, am I going to like this? Am I going to like this? And it in fact did the opposite, where it laid so much story down that it was hard to follow what the heck was going on with the anime, at least personally. Yeah. I could be old manning this and be like, oh, there's too much anime in my anime. But I did like Eminence of Shadow. It was very interesting and fun to watch, and it was kind of gruesome at times. Like, not like more gruesome. It was just like, oh, some people got cut up. Like some people got hard cut up.
Mhm.
And that was fun with it. I wouldn't consider it something that I was like, oh yeah, I needed to watch this. It was just like, oh, well, it's on. We'll get through it. And I still think there's some episodes we haven't watched because everything else on this list took over. Mob Psycho, insanely good.
Mob Psycho was really awesome.
Mhm. Spy X Family Part 2, very fun. It's a few down casual episodes. Chainsaw Man, freaking terrific. Like, amazing show. Blue Lock, out of left field, being a really good sports anime.
Yeah, that took a minute to really kind of grab me, but when it did, it did.
My Hero being like one of the best seasons so far, and then Bleach being Bleach, do some good stuff. This season, fall 2022, I think probably blew the rest of them out of the water. But I think summer also had two series that I think one series that kind of like met how good this thing was. Is there anything you want to add before we talk about our favorites?
One that was kind of under the radar was Shinobi Itoki.
Mm-hmm.
I think is how you say it. I mean, that was a fun one that just finished for me in English, and if anything, I think my biggest thing about that one is it should have been a movie almost.
Yeah,
I haven't really watched too many anime where I've kind of thought that, but it would have been better like that. But you're definitely right. I mean, it's almost a little unfair how many different anime there are in the fall season. That every other season has to compete with, just because of returning anime. So.
Yeah, and funnily enough, like when we look at winter 2023, we have Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? But if we are looking at most of this stuff, it's like Vinland Saga 2. And then I don't really see a lot of things that people that I know have been talking about.
Not yet.
So, I mean, campfire cooking is fun. But yeah, I don't really see too much on here that I would be like, yeah, I'm definitely going to recommend it to somebody right now.
Yeah, this winter for 2023 might be just the fun season. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of new ideas there.
I got to save 80,000 yen, which is a fun concept. I watched the first 2 episodes.
Yeah,
it's all about her trying to just save 2 million in both worlds so she can survive no matter what.
That seems really fun.
And she can go back and forth from the real world to the isekai world. So that's kind of a trip. So,
yeah. Well, I think that brings us to talking about our favorites. Johnny, you want to throw it down, or I can throw it down first? I can take the gauntlet and smack you across the face.
Man, I got my top one. I wanted to figure it out just talking about the different anime, and I did when we were talking about it.
It's none of them.
Yeah, you got me. It's Chainsaw Man, I think, for me. I think that was probably the biggest one that blew me away overall. Every episode was just entertaining in its own way, where there was like little animation aspects, the things that didn't matter, throwing sandals down the hallway to Denji eviscerating someone in half because he has a chainsaw going through his face. So Chainsaw Man for me. I think that was probably the biggest one. I mean, there's a lot of close contenders in there. I mean, I really wanted to say Mob just because this last season was pretty gnarly. Man, poor Dimple. I mean, he's gonna be okay, it seems, but it's crazy.
Dimple. My top, I think Chainsaw Man was threatening to take it, but I think Made in Abyss was my favorite. I think because it's just so dang memorable. I will never, and I think also it came at a time during this season that I was starving for like something really good. And I remember all of our conversations around it being really positive, being every episode was like horrifying to us in some new way. The fact that they kind of, every season Made in Abyss does it, where they're like, hey, we just spun something that seems normal and then we turned it horrifying. They're like, hey, this little girl. Oh, she turned into a monster. Oh, she turned into a tower. And she made everybody else a monster.
Oh, look, she's making babies.
Oh,
they're all dying.
Oh, they're eating them.
They're eating the babies.
Oh, my God.
Oh, one baby
Apologies.
survived. Oh, it's eating everybody else now.
Yep.
Oh, God.
And saying, hey, no more babies for anybody else.
No.
Also, all of
Not
you
done
spirit
there.
people, you're all dying. Yeah, it was significantly messed up. Every aspect of that season, and I think that's really why it clinched in my favorite anime. And I think because it's been a while since that season comes out, and it also carried the weight of being like a season 3 sort of, because it's
Mhm.
like season 1 the movie and then season 2. That's carrying more weight for me than Chainsaw Man. Also, Chainsaw Man, I think I was like, you're too fresh. You're very fresh because it just stopped like a couple of weeks ago or a month ago.
Sure.
So I think that maybe looking back on winter 2023 and looking back on Chainsaw Man, I can be like, oh, even though it was 2022, I'm like, that was really good, and I'm hoping this year is like gonna break last year in half.
Yeah, I hope so too. I don't really have anything in mind as far as like it's gonna be this, but
I'm looking at solo
Yeah.
leveling. I'm looking at you solo leveling.
Mm.
Destroy me with your amazingness.
Yeah.
I just want to. It's got to be pretty. I don't need it's just high animation. That's all it needs. It doesn't need to be anything more.
Is that another one of those? What do you call it? Webtoons?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. Be interesting to see what kind of animation it does have.
It better be good because that's the only. I think that's the thing that anime needs.
Mm.
Because it's not really like, the story is like very straightforward. It's like it's an isekai but not an isekai. But we'll see what happens. Anything you're looking for that you saw in 2023?
There's nothing I can really remember. I feel like there's something that I'm just missing. But yeah.
Konosuba.
Oh, Konosuba's coming back. That's right. Yeah, right now it's Konosuba.
And I think with that, leave a comment section, leave a comment down below with what your favorite or most memorable anime of 2022 was. Maybe something you're also looking forward to in the future.
I had to make sure I didn't do like 0, 2, 2.
What 2, 2, 2, 2?
It's twos. It's twos everywhere.
200 years from now, will we still be doing this? No.
2.
Share us around. We travel by word of mouth, and to your beautiful people who listen to us. We love you, and as always, you gotta keep
it
casual.